Thanks so far. So that was actually a bit of an eye-opener. But it sort of leads me to my very first question, and is that, if you look at all of those hurdles that have to be overcome as a small business, I remember lots of small businesses are mainly one-man shows.
Yes.
A lot of people are not financially literate. And you look at all of these hurdles and people just throw their hands up and want to walk away. So what is there out there for small business to actually finance themselves? Because a lot of the guys are doing, like, Paula last week mentioned, you have a belief in your idea. So what you've explained there is that the bank, or let's say the financing houses, are basically just putting a red line through that and saying, oh, well, I don't really care about the belief and the passion and the commitment that you have to your business. If you don't have all these technical details, I'm not going to lend money to you. And that could be bank or any other. Are there any other options where people are prepared to take more risk, especially in small business?
Right. The question is a very valid question, but also a very sad question. Why do you see in South Africa that we don't have enough new small businesses? And secondly, I don't believe that we have a venture capital market, and I don't believe that all the financial institutions is capable and is willing to give to small people money to start a business. That's why the only way that you can get money is either by going to a friend or family member, or you must get a small loan or grant. And what do they then look at? They look at your business and the whole idea, and they don't look necessarily of the three hurdles. But easier said than done. We have all seen that it doesn't work like that. And the government they can give various sources. It's one thing to say it's easy, but I've worked in the township. I've worked with trust. I've worked with big companies. And at the end of the day, they all ask the same questions and they use the same hurdles. So, Richard, I don't have an answer for you, but the answer is it's virtually none.
Okay. Basil, you have a question.
Hi, everybody. Servaas, that is very, very informative, but very, very depressing. What I'd like to ask is, I used to belong to the Institute of Inventors and Innovators, and I came up with some products. It was actually my wife's ideas, and I'm good at technical drawing, so I put the thing together, and I caught the bug, and I thought, wow, this could actually be something. And so I went along and I joined this institution and did my presentation, and they absolutely loved them, and said, come back with a prototype, and we will take it from there. And inside in this group of people was a banker, a patent attorney, and some advisors, and they signed a non-disclosure agreement right there before I started the presentation. And life got busy and I never went back with my prototype. And later on I saw that at least one of these products was actually on the market, on the shelf, and had I reacted and got the business going, I would have been possibly a wealthy man today. But what is your opinion? Do you know much about the Institute, and is it a viable option for a small business, a new business with new products?
Basil, I don't know about that institution. If you send me some details, I will have a look and I will find out for you. But that's typical. I find it very interesting. There's the banker, so the finance people were there, there's the lawyer, and they want to look at your patent. And we all know the horror stories of Woolworths and many other places that stole the patents or the prototypes or even product devices or product developments of small business people. Now, how do you defend yourself? And that lead me, and I will come back to what Richard just said. Is there a way that we can find finance or we can help? The way that Richard and us is coming together to network, to become friends, is a huge help and support network. Because I might know or something, and I can maybe come to you, Basil, and say, my son is an architect. And I see you do waterproofing and dam proofing. Can I not link you up? And maybe that is how I can help you. But I've never seen, and I've never come across in 40 years, one thing that annoys me and hurts me, and that is actually, who can you trust? And who cannot you trust? And you correctly say, maybe this is a very realistic picture. That is why I almost thought maybe I'm not the correct person to talk to people that want to hear positive news. I wish I could bring you positive news, but then I'm not true to myself. And it is one thing to show all the problems, but so far as what is the solutions, I don't have them, and none of them have them. And I was reading, and Van der Spy knows him well, Daniel Strauss, and what he was saying yesterday, and he say that he doesn't believe that the bank and financiers add any value to small businesses, because just as a reason that you just say. And what does he believe? He say we must actually find ways whereby we have crowdfunding, where you pool the funds and then you finance that people. That's the only way why he use his own money and the money of friends and investors to invest in other companies. And one of the forms that is very successful, and we could never duplicate that, is the business format of stokvels in the informal communities. And now you can say, yeah, but it's a savings club. It's far more than a savings club. In actual fact, it is a cooperative bank or banking institution. And that's the way they help each other, by pooling funds and by helping each other and funds.
Cool, thanks for this, Servaas. Lilani, you've got a question.
Hi, everybody. I think that actually Servaas, when I formulated the question or my response, Servaas actually started answering it, is that from experience, and I've worked with quite a few really small businesses, people that sort of start up and don't know where to go, and they always say, we need money, we really need money. And then we had a talk one day, and they said, you don't really need the money. You just need to prove to people, especially if you start up or you want to actually do something that's different. So I think you need to believe in yourself, and also not to believe that the bank is the beginning and the end of your finance solutions. There's quite a few innovative ways of getting money these days. Crowdfunding, going out there. There's competitions. There are people that are out there looking to sort of give away money. You just have to keep your eyes open. Now, the flip side of that is that once you work in your own business, you are so busy with actually your operational things, a day-to-day business, that going out and spending hours on finding money actually becomes a schlep. But I think if you sort of take some time and go through the process of seeing where you can get money and who's willing to fund and who's willing to invest, you'll see that there's quite a lot of opportunity. Of course, saying that those people has got more or less the same criteria as what Servaas has, just those 3 points that he's just mentioned in his presentation. But at least you know that there's people that's willing to, and they will look at it from a startup or a business perspective and not just from the risk perspective.
Well, I've got a sorry, no, go on. So, okay, so let's look at a question from the perspective of you've now managed to get loans. And I think Hendrik sent me an email with a couple of questions. I think his first question was, and I'll ask Hendrik to actually ask that question of you, but it's around, you've now got this money and the banks and the Credit Act, et cetera, they all put these limitations on it about how much you can actually lend based on how much you can pay back, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But obviously they're not, they don't know your business as well as what you do. So I'm going to ask Hendrik to ask his question. Hendrik?
Thanks for that, Richard. Your glasses need replacement or something.
No, the way you were touching your head.
So you're referring to that first question?
Yes, yeah.
The last 8 weeks, there was a lot of relief this and relief that you can apply for, and some of them seem fairly easy, etc. But at the end of the day, is you need to be careful that you're not taking on too much debt right now that's not going to be sustainable, because a lot of them might only start repayments in 12 months' time, etc. We don't know what the future is going to hold, and are you going to have enough cash flow eventually to fund all of that? So the question is, what is too much debt then that you are taking on?
Is that your question, Hendrik?
Yeah.
Right. I think that is where you need, and Lelani just said that when you're a small business, you are actually working inside the business. You are the owner of the business. You are the financial manager. You are the marketing manager, and you everything. And we know that. But the question is, when do I have too much debt, or when is my loans too much? I think when you sit down with someone that can do a proper cash flow analysis for you, and you can go back and you can work out, can I service the debt? Because that's the next problem. Currently, interest rates is at its lowest. It came down yesterday another 0.5%. So it's actually now a good time to lend money because the interest rates is very low. But can you afford? And the one thing is, when I said right at the beginning, is that debt increases like rabbits. It just go on. And the second point is that if your income cannot service your debt, so either by the sales that you do or the income that you get, then my honest advice is rather stay away from too much debt. And you will know, you will have that gut feel, that point number 7, that is so wonderful, and that you must look at what is your business plan, and you must look at what is your forecast, and still then no one knows what is happening in the economy. What is so sad is if you look in January and you went to the bank and you want to lend money, everything was okay. If you go in March, nothing is okay. So what I did in January, by taking on loans, and because I had a huge turnover and cash flow, is now suddenly gone. And that is why business is so difficult. And if I had all the answers, why do you think I'm in the academia? Because I just think to be a small business person or business person in South Africa, or business owner in South Africa, is one of the bravest and one of the most difficult businesses or jobs in the world. And if you don't have the stomach for that, if you don't have the feeling for that, rather just work for salary. It is not easy.
Okay, great. Guys, we're starting to reach our time limit. Are there any other questions? If not, then we'll wrap up, and I will send out the links and the video later on. Any other questions?
Richard, I don't know if it's possible that you can also load that, let's call it financing guide and financing sources that I sent on to you.
Yes, I was about to ask for permission to publish that document as well.
You can upload that, so no problem at all. So
okay,
that will help a lot where Lilani say we must just find someone or some institutions. I think there in that list is more than enough to work and that you can identify some of the sources.
Okay, so
but my last word on that is,
yeah,
unfortunately, there is no free lunches. And what they give with the one hand, they will actually take with the other hand. No,
sure, but I mean, that's life. Okay, so the document that Servaas is referring to is a document that Absa Bank put together with all the different types of sources of finance from different types of funds and how to access them. So I'm going to upload those this afternoon as well so that everybody has a copy of it as well. Okay, so next week I have tentatively lined up a speaker from government in terms of what government programs are available to small business, but that still needs to be confirmed. So I will let everybody know in the next couple of days who we are going to get in the coffee chat next week. Okay, guys, I think we've hit our time limit. Thank you very much for joining us today, and I hope it was valuable to you guys. So I'm now going to end the meeting. Goodbye, everyone.
Thank you.